Just as we criticize the games that took their first step and shot themselves in the foot, we feel compelled to flip the coin and deliberate over the best game openings of all time. We only considered the intros that are playable, so top 10 opening cinematics is another countdown. We gravitated towards games that gave you a surprising amount of freedom from the starting line, or created an epic, constantly evolving scenario and made you appear to control its outcome. These are the intros that no ending could top, the slices of gaming you force all of your friends to experience. The top 10 best beginnings ever. The rest of this list is woven with tales of woe, explosive action, and the sly introduction of interactive elements. This one starts with promise of cake and a little ballyhoo courtesy of Lakitu. Then it's just you and Mario. It's an exercise in zen as the bugs chirp and the butterflies float on by, inviting you to explore the castle grounds, take a dip in the pool, and master the triple jump, the tree headstand, or simply sweep the lake to your heart's content. It may feel minimalistic, but it's deceptively so, with the expanse of 3D space itself becoming a peaceful playground until you decide to open the castle door. A fitting aperitif to the star collecting to come.
Yeah. Here we go!
At first, this carefully rehearsed sequence of events seems like just another night in Gotham. Batman marching the Joker into Arkham Asylum is not an unusual sight, but there's something off about this particular capture. The tension builds as Joker is wheeled back into his permanent residence like a high explosive, and the camera lets you control Batman's perspective. You look up at Killer Croc's gargantuan frame and into Joker's dead eyes as you go deeper into the halls of madness. The intro is such a potent memory, it resurfaces later in the game as Batman is committed to a never-ending nightmare. It introduces you to the real star of the game, the haunted Asylum itself.
The joke's on you.
We love the beginning of Portal 2 because it's hilarious. The opening sets the game's comedic tone of impending death behind thin reassurances of normalcy. We also learn everything we really need to know about Wheatley in the testing center without ever slowing down for details. What really makes the opening of Portal 2 a masterpiece is how it manages to fulfill the functions of a first-level tutorial, making sure we know how to use the controls, while at the same time making fun of both tutorials and its own mute protagonist.
Do you understand what I'm saying at all? Does any of this make any sense? Just tell me, just say yes. Okay, what you're doing there is jumping. You just jumped, but never mind.
Who knew infiltrating an enormous and fully explorable military tanker would suit well in introducing the series' new stealth and combat mechanics? Fully equipped with dozens of rooms, halls, and patrolling military personnel, the tanker portion of Metal Gear Solid 2 thoughtfully showcased the extent of the game's enemy AI, conditioning players to acknowledge the benefit of dragging unconscious or dead bodies out of sight. Not only was the AI impressive, but the sandbox nature of the layout, coupled with the sheer amount of interactive elements within every room of the tanker, makes it stand among some of the best beginnings of video games.
Freeze! Hands over your head, now!
Point to point, it's hard to match the intensity of Austin, Texas, 2013. Shuffling through the house as Sarah is oddly absorbing as the looming carnage escalates from a nervous phone call, to the TV, to your dad shooting the neighbors. The backseat captures the perfect passivity of being a child, squirreling around with no control, to only shifting from Sarah to Joel, child to parent. You can only run and run, hoping to protect Sarah, until the unthinkable leaves you with just the gasping cries and 2 long decades in which to imagine a man's heart hardening.
It's okay, baby. We're safe. We're safe.
Establishing a chilling atmosphere from the moment you turn it on, Super Metroid brings a sense of weight to the series, starting with an opening narrative that gives context to the events of the first 2 games. Returning to Sarah's station to find the scientists' silent bodies, and a shocking brush with Ridley propels you to the space pirates' homeworld, which is marked by an eerie emptiness as you pass through abandoned ruins familiar from the original game. Delving deeper, trip security systems, preparing the planet's armies for ambush as you return to the surface. Super Metroid's opening moments create an incredible sense of tension and unease that's effective even to this day. Link's third adventure opened in a drastically different fashion than its predecessors. Awoken by a telepathic message, Link watches from his bed as his uncle sets off into the stormy night to answer Princess Zelda's plea for help. The young boy disobeys his uncle's orders to stay put and instead braves the harsh rains, unarmed and defenseless against what lurks in the night. What follows is a dramatic series of events. You find your uncle badly wounded and take up his sword and shield, but not before he gives you a cryptic message. After sneaking past the guards of Hyrule Castle, Link finally comes face to face with the beautiful princess, and the two make a daring escape from the dungeon. It's a masterful opening sequence with a brooding tone accentuated by excellent music that makes one thing clear: this game is going to be something special. Sent to an undisclosed European village to rescue the president's daughter, Leon S. Kennedy undergoes a harrowing introduction to a certifiably classic game. The tense initial encounter with an infected villager provides a familiar but dissonant callback to the original game, and an uneasy trek to a small farming village lands players into one of the most thrilling and dynamic survival scenarios in survival horror history. Barricading doors, racing up ladders, and bursting through windows, Leon has to keep moving while fighting for his life, constantly in danger of being overwhelmed. Things go from bad to worse when you hear the telltale growl of a chainsaw, but when the church bell rings, it's over as quickly as it began. Few games throw you into the fire like this, and even fewer can find the perfect ingredients for a tone-setting pressure cooker. Easily regarded as one of the best action games ever made, God of War 2 delivered a stellar beginning that set the tone for the entire tale. Big, bloody, and absolutely brutal. It begins with Spartans calling out the God of War's name in battle, as Kratos turns his back on the gods and descends to Rhodes to destroy it. And that's only the beginning. Everything about this opening level magnifies the ambitious nature of God of War 2. Setting the standard for action games and pushing the limit of the PlayStation 2 hardware, this level shook the foundations of the genre more than the Colossus of Rhodes shook the buildings fought in it. Carefully paced with selective platforming and satisfying combat, the opening gradually inches Kratos closer and closer to the large-scale Colossus, eventually tasking him to destroy its righteous mechanical heart, all in real time. Like with any good narrative, the opening ends with a twist, spoiler alert, as Zeus strips Kratos of his godly status and strikes him down. Defiant to the gods, yes, but to us, this beginning was far from sacrilegious.
Do you see, gods of Olympus? Do you need more proof than this?
Combining the best elements of theme park attractions, first-person storytelling, and deranged mutants, BioShock has the one opening that everyone simply must experience. This overture is a bit more linear than some of the other openings we've honored for their sense of freedom, but the bloody carnival ride lets you creep through parts at your own pace in case you need to stop and really understand what you're looking at. It's a bumpy ride, dodging splicers, sentry guns, and capsizing hallways. By the end of this first leg through Rapture, you've met Atlas, Andrew Ryan, Little Sisters, Big Daddies, and have all the motivation you'll ever need to escape this city or bury it. It's Jules Verne meets Alfred Hitchcock, an homage to the past and a glimpse of an imagined future. It's the most captivating and infinitely replayable beginning of all time. There were over 100 suggestions from you on Facebook, with The Last of Us topping the list at over 500 votes. BioShock's beginning came in third place, as the tense train opening from Uncharted 2 climbed past it. Also honored, Pallet Town from Pokemon Red Blue, and the first bits of Mass Effect 2 and God of War 3.